Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin, and I'm your host Mike. And with me on our panel today, we have Jenny. We're going to be talking about the loss to Wrexham and look forward to the start of the Great Escape with a trip to Bradford on Saturday. Talking of Lucky Star Gin, it was lovely to meet Ken and Nick and others on yesterday. It's kind of rushing around, flitting between groups. So, but I did get to meet them, and it was about time, to be fair, because I spoke to them for about just over a year. So that's amazing. Your engagement, please like, share, retweet, re-X, and all the rest of it. Give us those thumbs up. It really does help people find the podcast. I was speaking to some people yesterday, and they were like, "Oh yeah, your podcast popped up on our feed because someone else recommended it." So thank you very, very much. Jenny, how have you been?
It's nice to speak a couple of days after the match. Gives us time to think back on it. And I mean, my first thought actually since then is, if you were a neutral, it would have been a really excellent match to go and see. No, honestly, it would have been as a neutral. If someone was a neutral, no real, they just went to go because they wanted to see Sutton, see Wrexham. It was a good match. It was a good match. It wasn't boring. It wasn't, Wrexham didn't park the bus. We did. It was a good match.
No, fair enough. It was just over a year ago since I had you on. I do apologise. I see you every week, so it doesn't feel like that.
Do you know why it was probably a year ago? Because it came up on my Facebook feed on the 14th of February. We played Swindon at home.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And we won.
Yeah, Sally came to that.
And we beat Swindon, so that's probably why you had me on.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
as you mentioned, we're doing it a day after, or a day after the day after. I didn't want to cause any eruptions in people's households, and I didn't want that question of who do they love more, me or their partner, because we don't need people to admit that.
Don't go there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll make it easy. Not a huge amount of club news, just various bits, but the coach to Bradford is being advertised and selling well, so do that on the website. They're trying to think of lots of ideas. I don't know if anyone goes into the bar, the Amber Bar, the players' bar now, and they've got that lovely screen. They're thinking of different ideas now, and they've put the players' sponsors on there as well as pictures of the players, which is brilliant. So yeah, well done to everyone for not only thinking of ideas, taking on board other people going, "Oh, try that." So
start with the match though, but I mean, you notice I said as a neutral. I'm not a neutral though.
No, exactly.
And also, I guess, unlike Gandemonium, when they write their blogs, or used to write their blogs, they spoke that much about the football. I guess we got to talk about the football as well.
We are going to just fly through it. Don't you worry.
No. I mean, on reflection, because I drive back to Swindon, I had sort of about 2 hours, hour and a half. It's quite quick. And I felt better driving back to Swindon after that match, although we lost, than I did when we played Doncaster. It for me, I read some of the forums, our forums, not other people's forums, and I know sort of people are in two camps. One, we're already down, and the other still having hope. Now, I'm in the middle until we're mathematically relegated, then I live in that hope that we won't. But mentally, and I had to do this, mentally, I've got my head around the fact that we possibly will be relegated. And I needed to do that for me. What other people do, that's fine. But it was taking its toll.
Yeah, no worries. Well,
week after week after week, to go to Matt Gray, and I thought he must be good. He said he never gets too high and never gets too low. I'm not like that. A win. Notts County would beat 5-1. I get a high, but when we get a low, like when Dover years ago beat us 6-0. Glad I didn't go to Stockport, but this season, for me, I'll be honest. I've been through a relegation season before with Sutton, and it's not nice. It's not nice for any club, whoever you are. But it does take its toll. I'm going to admit that. And I needed, after Doncaster, it took me a couple of days I was really low,
get it out of your system.
And it was, I read Ryan's, I don't think he'll mind me saying, right, he said he was devastated and heartbroken on Tuesday. I've been there, and that was more Doncaster, and I had to think, right, get your head round. If we stay up, great, but I've got my head round that if we go down, it's not the end of the world. It's not, but I was heartbroken after Doncaster. I'll admit that. Don't care. I was devastated,
Well, so going into the Wrexham game, both teams weren't in the best form. I think they'd lost something like 4 or 5, and we'd kind of been struggling to get a few draws, losses as well. So how were your expectations going into the Wrexham match, and what were you hoping for from the game beforehand?
Even now, because I'm quite level-headed about it, I always go into a game where that'll be the game when we're going to get that win. Whoever it is, don't care, Wrexham, Mansfield, I'll go into that. And the way we started, so what was it, 7 corners we had in the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I always go into a game, and I think, like I said to you, I hope we win by a disputed penalty, but we get a cheeky penalty, and we win, and they hit the bar and hit the post. And, I'll always go in not thinking, we're going to get that we'll win, and it'll be the Torquay moment. We'll know what that's like. That it turns, whether we only win 3 more matches, but each match I will, go in that we'll get something out of it. And Wrexham the same, because I went up to Wrexham and, we were so unlucky. But they scored worldy goals. And when I think back to Tuesday, these worldy goals, can we make our goals either slightly taller or slightly smaller? Because we're here. If our players went into the crossbar challenge, that they used to have on Sky Sports, we'd win it hands down.
Easily. Well, no, we wouldn't, because we'd be aiming for the crossbar and we'd miss it.
Yeah, that's true.
But
is that luck? Is that we're hitting those?
As the teams were announced, Tinkerman Steve, I think, is what we're going to have to go with. Mixed it all up again. Eastie on the bench. Stephen Duke McKenna on the bench, and he had a great game against Morecambe. And Harry Smith as captain. Now, we did wonder whether it was the media team had said, Harry's captain, and someone put the wrong Harry, but no, it was Harry Smith as captain.
Yeah.
What were you kind of thinking on the lineup-wise, where he's changed it around again and put captain on the bench?
Right. In regards to the lineup, it's interesting because, I heard people are saying, look, he's changed around. There is one player he doesn't change around. That's the goalkeeper. He stayed. It's not being controversial. I'm not trying to say whether that's right or wrong, but he's not changed the goalkeeper. He's not, put Steve Arnold in just to see how that goes. Why? We don't know, because, he's changed everyone else, and there's not been, I would suggest, any of the players. Every one of our players have made mistakes in all the games, and he's swapped them around. I was surprised to see Harry Smith captain. But my excuse for that, I know it's a bit weak maybe, is that, you know, we're supporters, we see them on match days.
Mm-hmm.
Steve is at the training ground. He trains with them. He sees, he speaks to them. Who knows? And
Exactly.
I have to trust him
that
he knows what he's doing. People that are going, even when Matt Gray was there, people that are going, why isn't he playing such and such, such and such? We don't see them all the time. And yes, Eastie, when he's on, brilliant. But I think we have to remember, and if he watches, sorry, Craig, but he's older now. He did have a long-term injury.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, when he would come back and then he'd get injured again. And I think, in a sense, Steve, maybe, I could be wrong because I don't see him every day, is wrapping him in cotton wool and bringing him on when he needs to, if you like, or not when he needs to, but you know, that aspect.
I think he did say they were managing his return. So
and we'd love him to be on 90 minutes, and we'd love him to be the Eastie of 5 years ago, but he's not. I was disappointed not to see our lovely Scouser, Dookie, play, because I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But again, who knows?
Exactly.
I can honestly say I don't know why, and therefore, when we go, the good thing is that opposition managers, they can't work out what we're going to do.
This is exactly what we were saying. Is there is a thing of always the tinker man, and there's people like me going, well, I'm never going to get 11 out of 11 anymore because I just don't have a clue.
No.
But likewise, again, obviously, you love Matt. But you could pretty much, if you knew who played last week and everyone was fit, you knew who was going to play the following week, and you knew 4-4-2, and you knew it was going to be substitutes on 65 to 70 minutes and so on. So, and as you say, if we can work it out, just sitting there going, other people can work it out. But you mentioned we had a lot of early pressure. We had quite a few chances. We had some shots. Were you kind of confident at that point, or were you just thinking, why haven't any of these got in yet? We're going to get punished. Because we did.
You got it. The thing is, we might not know formations, we might not know the team, but one thing we seem to do is when we're on a good day, well, we haven't won, but we can put in pressure, we can play brilliantly for half an hour, even the first half, and the opposition might nip up the other end and they'll score. And that seriously, and you're like, the way we started, we were on top. I mean, they were shooting down the end that we couldn't see so well. We hardly saw the play up our end. Seriously didn't see the play. And in fact, because I always go around to get my coffee at half time, I missed the Wrexham goal, but I wasn't. But it's just that I saw, I heard them shouting. I was just about to go in, and I looked at the scoreboard, still 0-0. I thought, and then it went up 1, and okay. Yeah. But I thought, and my heart went, that is so us. We've had all that pressure, boom, down the other end.
Yeah.
It may have fell luckily to them, but what does it not fall luckily to us sometimes? And
no, it doesn't.
No,
ever. I mean, the next point I was going to make, you kind of led me onto there, where you said, you saw the ball go up with 1. Yeah. I mean, were we watching a game of football, or were we watching a goalkeeper dancing with the post and kicking his boots and checking his boots and spending like 40 to 50 seconds every single goal kick? And there were loads of goal kicks because we were putting the pressure on, and it was just so much, and the referee just didn't pick it up.
I mean, if we want to go on to the referee, I can be no. I mean, I try to not see everything through rose-coloured glasses, or I try to be fair that it's a game. But
they don't make it easy, do they?
No. On the goalkeeping side, I try to be fair by saying, if this was us, I mean, last season, and a bit of this, Dino wow, even I used to get frustrated with him. You know, he'd pick the ball up one side, walk slowly across to the other. Now, that doesn't make it right. And even I think you're going to get... Now, the thing is, and he did get booked occasionally. This guy, their goalkeeper, never was spoken to. That's the difference to me. He was never spoken to. So, and I was watching, the referee kept going like that, looking at his watch now.
Mm-hmm.
I was hopefully, never assume, because there you go, that he was going to think, okay, I'll add on
X minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
But he didn't, you know.
No.
And I saw when Harry was down, that's where I was walking, but I could see he was down. Let's not go. But the referee as well, can I go on to when Nino got booked, I mean, that was in the first, 6 minutes? That was early, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I know some have said, I think Mark Frakes said, that was a booking.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't dangerous. It wasn't a leg breaker, right? Mm-hmm. It may have been a foul. And you see all the time said, why couldn't he have gone up to the player and said, right, you've had one. Yeah. The next one, you're in the book. You know, was it really a yellow card straight away? I
don't mind the early yellow card because looking at it in isolation, it was a yellow card. The trouble is when the next 2 or 3 happen against us, and then not given the yellow card, then you're like, well, hang on a second.
I was going to go on to that.
One.
That's right. That's the thing. To me, though, the way he was going, you know, and you see some awful tackles in not just Premiership, Championship. When I watch it on telly, you know, and unless they're leg break, to me, you go up. It's like right, you know, because he could have done that. He could have said, "You've had one. I'll give you one." You know, right? As you say, didn't do that to anyone else. There was some, and that's where I don't. You see, Steve Morrison on his interview afterwards, he said, "I can't say anything. I'll get into trouble." He can't. We can.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid that there's some conspiracy, but honestly, it's as if they come with the mindset that this is Sutton United, or even like this is Craig Eastman. He's dirty. We're going to book him. Craig got booked.
For complaining about exactly. I mean, I did say it a couple of weeks ago, I think I was on with Paul, and I was like, I hate blaming the referees because it's always a cop-out, and we're not in the position we're in because of referees.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, they're not helping. You can think of a few different decisions in this season where you're like, well, hang on a minute, like Joe Kizzy's the free kick given against Joe at Crawley. Yeah. Clearly he was fouled. I've shown people the clip and saying, right, which way is that foul going to go, the red or the white? And they're like, oh, white player's been fouled. Apparently not according to the referee. So it's just really,
you could
really
go
odd.
back to the Doncaster match before they had the penalty. Harry Smith was jumped all over in the centre circle.
Yeah,
it would have changed everything if we'd have got a free kick, or even they'd have got a free kick. You know what I mean? Slowed it down. But
absolutely. And there was another game earlier in the season where I can't remember who it was actually, but their player grabs Harry Smith round the waist and literally threw him to the ground.
Nothing.
And it was a free kick against us.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, sorry, did Harry not go down quick enough? Did Harry get in your way? I do apologise. But I mean, you mentioned H got an injury. I haven't actually heard anything about it yet. So don't know what it is. But with that, the one added minute was obviously extended. And I just wondered, did our players maybe switch off and think, right, we're into half time? I mean, it didn't help that Craig went to make a block and it got him right in the old daddy vegetables.
Yeah.
And it was. Whew, that's
I'll be honest, because I was walking around. I was actually behind the goal walking when Harry went down. So I saw him, and he went to get up, and then he went back down again. So I know, and he didn't go off as if it was a hamstring limp, you know. But it was weird because he went to get up, and then he sat back down again, and like no. So
well, it was obviously something because we were 1 minute away, and if he could have stayed on until half time, he could have just literally stood there.
And isn't that just us though? That it was that we can't grab a break. Honestly, we can't. And to just stay on the refereeing side, I put it on WhatsApp but it was interesting. You know, when you're near the bottom of the league, you don't seem to get decisions. Now I don't know if it's on Ipswich and Millwall last night. When Ipswich got a penalty, the foul was outside the box, but they got a penalty. And that's a bit like, and I thought, Millwall near the bottom, they're not at the bottom, but they're like fourth from bottom. Ipswich near the top. They replayed it, and the foul happened outside the box. The guy rolled in, and just that was Championship. And I'm like, Millwall were near the bottom. Do they not? I think, what is it?
Yeah, I do think. Try and be logical. You don't, and they do seem to go against you. But I think potentially when it's going badly, you need these moments more. So if Ipswich, for example, are doing well, they'll get another chance, and you don't really remember the chances that you didn't need. It's when it goes against you, and you needed that chance, you needed that break, and that's when you start remembering them. But yeah, so we went 1-0 down on the stroke of half time. Sure, we've been there before, but we came out hit. I think you might have still been having your chocolate biscuit at some of this, but
no. I actually came out because I went up into the grandstand to speak to the clackers, and I was expecting the normal Sutton in second half come out, and we're and that's it, backs against the wall. But I cannot knock the effort and they would, it just is as if there was this glass panel, hit the bar, what I mean? We were getting nothing.
Hit the bar, I think twice it was, and there were at least 2 penalty shouts, one significantly clearer than the other. I mean, Harry again, I think, was pulled down. I think Ollie might have been pulled back. I think actually one of them was in the crossbar thing. Ollie was pulled back as he was going for it.
I mean,
exactly.
You're just not gonna get a. And I think I don't know if it's psychological, but you look back over the seasons and those at the bottom, and even in the non-league, whatever. When you're in that bottom area, you don't seem to get the breaks. You don't seem to get the referee's decisions. You don't seem. I don't know why. It'd be a great thing to research. But I know. I don't know why. We're going to be one of the few teams, if not the only team, that doesn't get a penalty this season.
Well, yeah. I mean, James McLean handball. Now, there are lots to say that. Well, could he have moved his arm? Did he stick his arm out? But those conversations are for a couple of seasons ago because the rules changed. And if the ball hits your arm, that's a penalty. So whether you can say, well, he didn't mean to do it or he didn't stick his arm out or not, doesn't actually matter. The ball was quite clear, stopped because it hit his arm. So that's a penalty. Yeah. God knows what the linesman was looking at. God knows what the referee was looking at, but nothing.
They didn't. Oh, I don't know.
Well,
they didn't want to seem to give anything against Wrexham. I mean, it's bizarre.
Absolutely.
I agree with you with these referees. I mean, I don't want VAR,
No.
I'd leave it as it is, even though it's annoying. But these changes in the rules, I agree with you. But I can remember, I think it was very early on in the season, I think it was Harry Buteman, got booked for taking too long, taking a throw in.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to have been gone. By the by, the goalkeeping situation, the go back even 2 or 3 seasons, shirt pulling in the penalty area. Oh yeah, well, I look at Paul's pictures. Wow, some of those pictures, and in fact, even at the match, you could see, 2 of them wanted. I can't remember who they. Give him your shirt, Josh, because they're obviously taking it off you.
Yeah,
that's gone. That's gone.
And everyone knows I'm blind and I don't know anything anyway. But even I'm sitting there going, how is that not a foul throw? People just literally going like that. And it's like, how? That must be a foul throw. How are they not seeing this? So all these things kind of it just adds to frustration.
I really don't know. I mean, Matt Gray, I can't remember if he did it in a Q&A session or when we were at the training ground. But when we were in the National League, I shall have to go back to this because he said that when he came out of the dressing room, the referee actually named one of our players that he needs to be careful because he was going to book him. And Matt was well, yeah, I'm not. But Matt said, you know, we weren't even on the pitch. He did, but he was saying that he'll probably book him. But so, you know,
you're up against it from the start. But we did get an equaliser.
But the play,
eventually.
I mean, the second half, I can't fault them for. They carried on. They
pushed through. I mean, probably the worst of the chances we had. The ball kind of skimmed across and bobbled in, and we got a goal. So Charlie Lakin from the free kick.
Yeah,
Lakin. But we then did our usual. Oh, we're hanging on here. Let's drop really, 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 really deep and invite the pressure. Again, it's easy to kind of look at things in hindsight, but there was the ball was going out, and one of our defenders headed it back into the penalty area, and you're like, that was going for a goal kick. We could have taken 7 hours for that goal kick, according to the referee. But on the difference, Dino got booked. I suspect for saying something sarcastic. He was being hurried along, and he must have said something sarcastic. Yeah. Then Eastie got booked for the penalties decision. Yeah. We are very likely to get another charge. I didn't mention that earlier because the penalty decision, all the players
all running around the referee.
Absolutely. But it's a case of yes, I get the whole respect thing. And I think Dan mentioned it several times. If you want respect, you need to be showing it and earning it. You can't just make these awful decisions and then expect to get this respect. I refer to, we've just been charged for the incident at Morecambe, which no one remembered. I went back and watched the iFollow thing, and I went, oh, okay, there was a thing where all the players surrounded the referee when we should have had a penalty. It was inside the area, but he gave it for outside. Everyone went nuts. Our team going, it was a penalty. They're going, it wasn't even a free kick. And I was like, well, if you're given the actual penalty, at least you've only had one team moaning at you.
Yeah.
But we did concede another. Every goal was a poor goal, really. Oh, well, not all of them, but Elliot Lee again against us. So we lost 2-1. As you said, neutrals, lots of other people very complimentary. There was a Wrexham fan who basically has said, I've watched Sutton twice this season and I need to ask, how the hell are they bottom of the league? And lots of Wrexham fans were saying that they got away with it, should have lost that quite badly. Well, 3-1, I think someone was saying. One person was saying, what do you mean you outplayed us? Okay, you can go back and talk to your own fans. Actually, I'm not going to argue this one. But it does, with Forest Green's result, it does make us back to the bottom. Points-wise, I think it's changed too dramatically, but it now means that we've got to get sort of 7-8 points more than 2 teams. How do we feel this leaves us? I mean, there's 14 games left, so it's 42 points. But as you were saying earlier, with what you were thinking about the dreaded R word, a lot of people, I think, have moved from belief that we will get out of it to hope that we will get out of it.
Yeah.
How are you seeing the mood? I mean, obviously, you mentioned you're on different forums and pages and stuff. How are you seeing the mood?
Well, like people say we've got to win 10 matches, etc. Mm-hmm. Well, they got to remember, yes, we're only concerned with our stuff, but that means the other teams around us have got to lose theirs because they're saying exactly the same. See, if we won 10 matches, what if they win 10 matches? We're still in the same position. Exactly, so it's not a case of, yes, we need to win matches. We're not disputing that. But who would have thought Forest Green, because I wouldn't have, we're going to win Tuesday. Exactly. I don't think anyone, if you'd have put money on it. So they're saying, look, we've got to win, let's say, 5 matches. Well, they've won one now. We are then depending on all these teams around us, or the ones that have fallen, Grimsby in freefall. But, we've not had a good period yet. They've had good periods and now they've fallen. We're just on the same. I've always been I believe we will get out of it. I hope we do. If we don't, like I've said to people, I looked at the National League, at the teams in it, and I actually thought, do you know, we owe Rochdale. I want to go back to Rochdale. I remember the last game of the season. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
there are quite a few sort of questions, and I think a guy called Neil was asking, well, I've only supported Sutton for a couple of years. What's the biggest difference between the National League and the league?
Not a lot.
There's not a huge amount. I kind of said, I did say I believe that most of the rules and regs we have in place will stay in place because they're not going to want to get rid of everything and have to put everything back in place again. But I mean,
they often have said Cloughie, who was now in Thailand, when he came back and he played league football, he said the bottom half of League Two and the top half of the National League are the same.
Very similar,
Yeah, very similar. I would dispute that with Chesterfield at the moment.
Well,
wow.
If the worst happened, though, Chesterfield won't be there.
Absolutely.
When you look at the rest, you're like, oh, actually, it's not that bad.
But no, looking at it, I mean, I've always said it's like League Three. It's not, Mickey Mouse non-league. It's a damn good league, as it is hard to get out of. But come on, guys,
No, it would be. I mean, there's lots of. Obviously, we want to stay in league football.
Absolutely.
I did say ages ago that what will happen at some stages, we will hit a plateau, and we will be losing more games than we win, and we're going to be constantly battling for survival because we've reached our limit. So wherever we get to, we're going to reach a limit. There was one other comment that quite a few people made. Only Harry Smith.
I was going to bring this up.
Yeah, and possibly Steve. I wasn't sure which member of staff was next to him. It might have been Steve.
Yeah,
but only Harry Smith and the players came to clap.
It's so noticeable how they always come over. Even they don't come right over. They come right over when it's like massive wins or whatever, or Accrington, Stanley. They all come. But I was walking round because I'm usually round by the grandstand by then to chat to a few people I know, and I was. Again, just behind the goal. Okay, there's a lot of people. And I looked because I was... And I thought, where are they going? They were... And Harry Smith. And yes, there was one other. And I don't think it was Steve.
Right.
And I don't know. But Harry Smith now. I'm like... Because I started to clap. And I'm like, where's the others? Yeah. Where's the others? Come on. You've played... Yeah, you're gutted, but I mean, crikey, even at, they've come over at all of the matches. And I thought, okay, so what's happened now? In hindsight, I thought, were they all crowding around the referee? And having a go, which...
No, I didn't see that.
No, but...
I was not saying it didn't happen.
I'm through and through Sutton, but I thought that probably wasn't very good.
No, I mean...
And a big up to Harry for doing that. Appreciate it.
Now, it's normally, obviously, it's happened for a good few years, but it's normally the players that kind of instigate it are Butts, who wasn't on the pitch, Louis John, who wasn't on the pitch, Christian, who I know he's only joined us, but he's one of the first normally over.
Yeah.
And there's one more, I can't remember who it is, but normally they're the ones that kind of instigate that thing, and all the rest of the players go, oh yeah, do it. So I'm just wondering, with them not being on the pitch, or was it everyone was just pissed off?
Yeah, I think if you look back, I mean, we've got a lot of new players at the beginning of the season, plus the ones that Steve's brought in.
Yeah.
And if you like, those of us that have been there a long time, and the players that have been at Sutton a long time, Craig, Harry cut him in half. It's got Sutton United written through him. Harry Buteman. They've got a connection with the fans that has built up over the seasons. They know some of the fans, but there's a connection, and in all honesty, the new players, they haven't had a chance to build that. It might be still wrong that they didn't come out, but they haven't. There's something special about this strapline in it together, and during the hard times, it's in it together. And Harry Smith has obviously maybe picked that up. I don't know, or just the fact of who he is. But yeah, I thought that was a bit naughty.
Yeah, I mean,
don't know the reason. I'd like to know why.
Exactly, don't know the reason. I mean, it could be that, as you say, they just wanted to get off the pitch because they were fuming, and probably thought they didn't want another charge. It could be that the new sort of regime, the new players, the new management don't feel that coming to clap the fans after a loss, or take the not clap fans, but take the clap from the fans.
Yeah. Because we were clapping, people were clapping them. They weren't. Yes, people were going out. I know that, but I had to find my way through to get round to the ground. So,
but I wonder, did maybe they hear some of the booing?
Was there booing?
The referee was booed.
Oh, the referee was.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if the players heard the booing and wondered
and thought it was them.
Thought it was them. I don't know. It seemed fairly obvious it was the referee, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, they were probably booing them as well. I must admit, I noticed it, and it was only when someone on the forum brought it up, and I thought, well, I wouldn't have brought it up, but it
is one of those little things that's like, we could tweet that.
Yeah, it is, because we're not like that. I mean,
let's be honest, Doz used to do it, and he kind of started it.
Yeah.
And he admitted the reason it started was it was part of the players' warm down session. So it wasn't necessarily just to clap the fans; it was an added thing. Oh. But he did a little warm down, and he said it's part of the warm down session, and also clap the fans while you're there.
And Matt Gray carried it. Matt Gray came round. Yeah,
that's actually genius. Is to do that. The two things.
Absolutely.
But so we're going to move on with the first of our 14 games. Great Escape is a nice, easy trip up to Bradford.
Valley Parade.
Yeah. So, let's pretend you're the manager. What do we need to do to win this game? What are you gonna?
Not have the opposition turn up. Have a big goal. I'm going up tomorrow. I'm going to do a weekend of it. I mean, the thing is now, going back to where we might be or might not be, we go to some brilliant stadiums, and I'm going to enjoy going up to these stadiums, in case it's the last time. And Valley Parade, you can't knock it. I mean, 17,000 maybe. They might have even. They're not doing brilliantly this season. I don't always particularly. I'll be honest. I'm not one of these great people that looks at their team and looks at. I mean, Andy Cook, we all know about, and they've not been on a very good run. But I watched the highlights last night from the League Two just because I wanted to see what Mansfield were on and what and what Harrogate weren't. But who knows? You see, the first time we played up there, we should have won, and they brought, and Lee Angle's got a lot to answer for. And last season, when we had the penalty, I know it's your old club, Lee, but no, don't leave it. Let it be someone who takes penalties, please. But we won't get one.
No, exactly. I mean, that does coincide with. In fact, that might be our last penalty, but it coincides with his run of form. That penalty, and he was on fire, and then he just kind of chipped off. He started to come back up again and doing well, but we need the Lee of pre-penalty.
I suppose going back to Tuesday, because Harry Smith was playing, and he's tall, so let's get the crosses in. So I was sort of a little bit surprised that I don't know. I'd have liked to have seen Juki one wing and Omari the other wing.
Yeah.
Throwing the crosses in all the time and him putting it in the top right-hand corner, top left-hand corner. I don't think Harry gets... He never gets the fouls against him. I mean, there's people dragging him down, pulling his shirt. He's got 3 people on him. He's got... he doesn't get the breaks. So... I wouldn't like to say what team he's going to have out. No, I don't know. Have no idea. People have, and I will name them. People have said Joe Kizzy didn't play. I thought Joe was all right. Every player made mistakes Tuesday. Yeah. Every player.
Poor Joe. Yeah,
I thought he was fine. I could pick out. There was a time Goody didn't do very well on one thing, but I'm not going to say he had a crap game. He was fine.
You mentioned only Dino has played all the games, but actually I think Joe has played almost every minute of every game this season.
Right.
The poor bloke just needs a rest. Just give him a chance.
See, this is it. You've got, say, Duke, who's a young lad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now he's up and down like a whippet. But, I mean, Harry Buterman's got an engine on him. And he would, and surely it's Steve, isn't it? Duke. But anyway, Dukey, he's a young lad. I'm sure he's got So I'm like, I don't know why, but because I'm not there every day of the week,
exactly.
He has his reasons.
It could be managing it. It could be that the QPR have said, look, we don't think he can play this much in a
or
week.
We don't want him to play a full 90. Two weeks in, 2 games in a week.
So we don't know exactly his history, but there was definitely a moment. I mean, the fitness you can't really question, because in the second half, I think he lost the ball on the left wing. He pelted all the way back, won it on the edge of our penalty area, and then dribbled all the way back again. It's like, this boy doesn't need too much.
No, he's amazing. He's amazing. He's the Duracell batteries, isn't he? He's got in him, So I'd like to see him start on Saturday. With Smith. He obviously wouldn't play Lee and Smith. Well, I don't know. I'd like, sod it. If we're going to go down, let's go down.
But it could be that what he's doing is he's planning on the last half hour of the match of tired legs, bringing McKenna on, and potentially getting a break that way. But I mean, I know you joined in the league. I don't know where you are in the league.
I'm about 6th, 7th. But I don't like to put a loss. That's why I'm not at the top.
Yeah. So, you're 9th.
Oh, 9th.
Still well ahead. You're 14 points ahead of me.
Blimey, I don't like to put us down to lose.
Yeah. Just so you know, the prediction you give me now, you can still enter a different number when you enter the thing. So don't feel like you're stuck with
because it is early, I mean, I want to see what Steve says.
Exactly.
Thursday.
So on the prediction league, the little code is up on the screen for anyone who wants to play. Lots of new players in the last few weeks, which is amazing. It is very tight at the top. Paul Darby is now on 103 points and Andy is on 102. So very, very close. And I think there's I can't remember now, 80 odd points to play for. On the prediction league, not on the league. 84 points, that's it. So do join in, and obviously you can then get the email to start off next season when we try and bring some proper rules into this thing. But do you know what is your prediction, your early prediction, Jenny?
Can we get that cheeky penalty and get a 1-0? No, the thing is, I don't think my heart can tell it. Even if we're 1-0 up and there's 3 minutes to go or less, I'm just dying because, I want to at least have a couple of goals gap. There's going to be a lot there. It could go. I tell you what, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. A 2-1 win to us. We've got to something. We'll let one in. We're going to let a silly one in, but I just, I'm going to go. Harry Smith's going to score one, and I'd love someone like Dukey to score one. I would, but Harry Smith, both Harry Buterman, Harry Smith, because Harry started scoring again this season. I know we haven't got many, but we are scoring goals. It's just they're scoring more than us.
Well, I was going to say 2-1 again.
I'll go for 2. I hate to put that we lose. Okay. I'd rather put that we win, and it goes wrong. But I'll never go against us particularly. I think I have once, but I don't like to.
Well, I'm going to change mine to 2-0, which is almost guaranteed that it's going to be 2-1 because I've put 2-1 for about the last 10 games. So I'm going to go 2-0 though. But that's going to wrap it up. Okay. We will kind of leave it there. Thank you so much for jumping on this morning instead of on Wednesday night. Thanks everyone for listening. We always appreciate your ear attention. Cups are available. Don't forget to like, follow, share on social media, subscribe on your podcast platforms, subscribe to the YouTube, give me those thumbs up. And next time we are joined after Bradford by Johnny and Sarah, I want to say. It might not be. But as always, thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Big thank you to Jenny. And thanks to everyone for listening. This is Sutton Podcast. Take care and goodbye.
United!